everyone, welcome to Destination Swish, the series where we explore the people, the places, and the stories shaping the world of luxury living. My name is Karen. I'm the CEO of Swish Marbella, a luxury rental platform based in Marbella, offering an exclusive high-end homes for discerning travelers. My guest today is Aida, an accomplished architect and interior designer whose work spans Paris, Monaco, and beyond. With a refined eye and a passion for timeless elegance, Aida has brought her unique touch to some of Marbella's most exclusive homes. Today we'll be talking about Aida's creative journey and how she blends beauty with functionality in her work. So Aida, welcome to Swish. I'm really excited to have you here. We've known each other for 10 years and now, we're also working together. I'm very excited about the project you're working on in Puerto Banús. And I would love it if you can tell us a bit more about yourself, your background, the project, and everything related to luxury homes and luxury rentals and your involvement as an architect.
Thank you so much, Karen, for inviting me. So I'm Aida Cohen, a state architect and interior designer. I have had the opportunity to work about 10 years in several agencies in Paris. And then in 2018, I launched my own company of architecture and interior design. And I split my time between Paris and Marbella. And also I had the opportunity to work in a very high-end project in Monaco, who gave me a very important experience in the high-end architecture and in design. And now I'm super happy to work with you guys, and I'm very honored. And it's a very special project for me, the Frontline Beach in Puerto Banús. It's a very important project where every details is taught in a rental point of view, but in general in the eco-friendly aspect, designed, the integration into the site, and all the details and interior design. And I'm very happy to work with you hand by hand, because it gives another flow to the project and the process, and it makes it special.
So the most important aspect of the house we will be launching soon, I guess, is the proximity to the sea. For our clients coming from colder countries, the most important factor is the sea. I think we take it a little bit for granted when we live in Marbella, but for our clients, being close to the water is everything. So the house already has this proximity. And of course, what I loved visiting it last week, you told me that you had to design the house in a way that it blends with its environment. And I love that. I think we forget, recently the trend was for ultra-modern homes. But I noticed, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that there is a trend going back to designing homes that live well in their environment.
Yeah, absolutely. The relationship between the houses and the context and the site is very important. We have an epic location, Frontline, and with you guys we have designed all the houses toward the sea to make it impressive and makes to the tenant or the customer an amazing experience.
So for you, is luxury having incredible views? What is luxury? What do you qualify as luxury in a home? Is it the view? Is it the other day when I asked you, you told me something that I loved. You said, for me, luxury is space. And this is true. Can you have a luxurious home when you have, for example, a one-bedroom apartment in the city? Or is luxury space, volume?
I would say is a combination of these factors. Of course, space is, for me, the more important thing, is the true luxurious thing. Volumes as well, having impressive volumes, very high ceilings mixed with big spaces makes it so special. Plus, of course, having this amazing location and working on the planning toward the sea and the views makes all this combination very special.
And what about qualities? Does it have to be expensive to be luxurious? Can someone create a luxury home being on a budget?
I don't think we need to to break the bank, to create these wow factors. I think with a good planning, a good study of the volumes toward the views, and with very special attention to every details, to emphasize the sensorial experience, to brings a lot of amenities also shaped on what the market needs. All these in an intelligently way of doing doesn't require a lot of money. Of course, it's a balance. The more you put, the better you receive. But it's a balance between all these factors.
So you kind of choose where to spend the money and where to be maybe a bit more, careful if the client has a budget.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I really like the fact that very early on in the stage of designing this project, we sat together and we discussed truly what the guest needs. And I think that for you and for us, the inspiration has been a hotel room.
Absolutely.
So the comfort of a good mattress, the comfort of a good bed, the lighting, which I love the fact that this was really in the heart of the design, to think basically about the comfort. We even discussed in length, the size of the cupboards and the hangers, if the outdoor kitchen should have an ice machine or a fridge. And I love that, the guest was at the heart of the design so early on in the project. So ideally for you, at what stage do you need to be involved? And do the owners of the houses design the house thinking about rentals, or do they design them for themselves and then maybe later decide to rent a little bit later in the process? What is your experience?
I think property owners and developers are now investing much more in comfort and to create this hotel feeling and amenities. And also the boundary between developing or creating for owners or for rental is more and more almost the same. So it's true that now it's not just about aesthetics, it's about comfort, as we said.
Thinking about the comfort of the bed, by thinking about the flow, about the movement in the house.
Yeah.
I love this because previously, you would go visit a house and the owners would tell you, I've really built this house for myself, as a criteria for quality. But now people actually do create homes that are extremely luxurious in terms of size, space, volume, amenities, qualities in the kitchen, in the appliances, for actually renting them, because this is truly, like we discussed before, after COVID, renting, living, in different places has become the norm. And it's true that now in the world of Instagram, of platforms where you can book a villa, sometimes villas can look really beautiful, but when you actually check into the house, you notice that the qualities are not great. But at Swish, we're very proud to rent houses that have been conceived with the tenant in mind, while still, making sure the qualities are there. You have a lot of focus in your work on sustainable development, on thinking about homes that are actually friendly to the environment. So how do you do that?
I think the eco-friendly architecture is a core, is very important for me. I also studied it during my master, so it's very important. And from the very early beginning of, for example, the Portobanus project Villa, I integrated it on the very early beginning by, for example, putting insulation in all the houses to reduce the electricity consumption, also by putting solar panels to also reduce the consumption of electricity, also by putting, for example, a water tank, especially here in Marbella where we suffer from drought. And all these elements is very important too for the owner and also for the tenant, also including these new technologies. For example, domotic system, home automation, improve the efficiency of the house and the comfort for the guests and of course for the owners. And all these in order to reduce the footprint of the architecture today on our environment.
So this is great. Many homes that we rent at Swish are also using green energy. So we have added the stamp on our website so that guests who are aware of these considerations can choose a villa that is in line with their priorities.
Yeah.
And it's great that this has been already implemented. The other thing I would love to discuss with you is the trends today. So when we started Swish in 2020, 5 years ago, everything was about ultra modern homes, Scandinavian design, less is more, which I know is a quote that you really love.
Yes.
But we see and we have noticed, and you confirmed that to me, that there is a trend that goes more towards more is more at the moment. You have a lot of owners that you're working with that are really drawn towards the classic style.
Yes.
There's a lot of inspiration from the Marbella Club, from Finca Cortesin, from owners who are really looking to have an Andalusian home that really is really more south of Spain, more colorful. There is a lot of owners who are really playing with colors, with textures. So what is the trend? Are we still going towards modern, or is it changing?
I would say there is three kind of style that stand out today. The first one, as you said, is the classical one. Is not exactly the classical style that you can find in Paris, but it's kind of mix with a contemporary approach. We can find the classical elements combined to contemporary things, and also technology. For example, big windows instead of long and high windows. So big windows, domotics, new materials, eco-friendly approach mixed to this style. This style remained timeless and very elegant.
Okay.
I would say the second one is the Japandi one.
Okay.
Is a mix between it's like a fusion between Japanese minimalism and Scandinavian aesthetic, and it's about neutral color palette, is about eco-friendly materials, is about creating cozy and smooth atmospheres. And the third one, I would say, is the Mediterranean style,
Okay.
very popular in the coast of Marbella, but as the classical one with a touch of modernity.
Okay.
It respects the local materials, the local elements of architecture, but a mix with this new technology and approach of architecture to answer
The needs of modern life.
Exactly.
So basically, all the trends, whether it's classic, Mediterranean, or Japandi, have integrated modern features to adapt to the modern needs of modern living. But I mean, to me, I love the Japandi style. I love this apartment that you just designed. Maybe we can add some pictures so that our viewers can see.
With pleasure.
This is my favorite style. What is your favorite style?
I cannot impose my style. I have my own taste, of course, but what is the most important for me is to understand my clients, the style they want, and to make it real and understand what is needed.
So you want to really execute basically their vision.
Yeah.
And I love that you told me once that you feel like you're the psychologist of your client because you listen. But listening, I think, is a great quality to have in any job. At Swish, we also feel sometimes that we're the psychologists. We have to listen to the needs. And what I love about you is that you always make sure that your clients feel special, that they're your only clients, even though you and I know how busy you are and how many projects you're doing at once, but you truly give your full attention and dedication to each one of these projects. And I think probably this is, the key to success, to be there, to be available, and to fully work with them hand by hand to make sure their vision is executed. So this is a really beautiful thing. The other thing I was very curious to ask you is that, in Marbella, in the market we work in luxury real estate, in architecture, in rentals, the market is very crowded. So how did you manage to stand out and to attract your own clientele? And how is it being a woman and starting a business? Because at the end of the day, it is a business, I guess, that you have. So what are your thoughts on that?
it's true that it's a real business, and what makes me a bit different from all others is that I mix the two jobs. I'm fully architect, state certificate, as I said at the beginning, and I'm also designer. So this allows a full control of the project from the planning of the space until the interior design. So I can coordinate everything and be the project manager of all. This is not something you can find everywhere.
Okay.
And
it creates harmony, I guess. So
Absolutely.
instead of like ensuring there is a good communication between the architect and the interior designer, you're all in one.
Exactly.
Which is great. And what advice would you give to someone who is buying to renovate and rent, or buying to renovate and live? What's the best advice you can give someone? Because as you know, I recently renovated my own project, and it's not easy. It's a very, very complicated task. We often think that this is something we can do. And I'm, always about cutting corners and saving where I can. But I know that this is not always the best route. So what's your advice on that?
I think you should call me.
A good one.
I think you should always ask an architect to help you. To have someone like that is a bit of investment you do, but it will be way more profitable after by saving time and giving the coordination and project management to someone else that is expert on that. I would say also the good advice is also to know, for example, the agency from the beginning. If your goal is to rent, for example, in the case of this villa we're doing together, the client knows that she wants to work with you guys and with me. So we made a team from the early beginning, and this allows the project to be very successful. Also, what is my advice is for developers or owners that want to rent is to design it in order to target the maximum audience, to not do on their own taste, to do it
to create like houses that are not too personal,
Exactly.
right? Because no one wants to rent a house where you have a photo of your grandmother on the wall.
Exactly.
Or you need to create a home that everyone can go in and feel I'm in a hotel room, it's neutral, it's everyone's taste.
Exactly. So this, and also when you design with a nice concept and nice interior design style, for yourself, it will please also for the tenant.
Exactly. Yeah.
So aesthetics combine to great materials plus comfort plus creating and developing amenities that will generate more experience for people, for families. Now, amenities in villas are, for example, using the basement for doing cinemas, gyms, also can be BR, bowling sometimes. So
entertainment, and the more amenities, the better. It's basically more boxes ticked for clients.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of clients that come to us saying we want a villa with a tennis court, or we want a villa with a state-of-the-art gym because I'm an athlete, and while my family is enjoying Marbella, I need to train every day. But also, I believe that from an economic point of view, for us at Swish, what we noticed is the more rooms, the better.
Yeah.
So if there is a question, sometimes we get asked by owners, I have space, I'm hesitating, should I do 6 bedrooms and an office or 7 bedrooms? We always say do 7 bedrooms if you can, because 7 bedrooms mean 14 people, more heads, and it's always the same with clients. No matter the budget, it's always a calculation that boils down to cost per head.
Yeah.
So the more clients, the bigger market as well, because you can capture clients looking for 7 bedrooms with a 7-bedroom villa, but also a smaller group.
Yeah.
But yes, amenities are a big thing. And so in your opinion, what are the most wow factor amenities?
The first thing I would say is to look after the architecture that combine perfectly with the site. Having an amazing planning, access toward the views, From that, you make the experience very special. And then all the rest is development. So we develop the interior design to make it wow. And every detail are studied, lighting, the sound, the sensorial experience. The amenities, I would say, that are very basic are a gym, for example, to provide cinemas, entertainment rooms, game rooms. All the sport amenities are great to offer to tenants.
And things may be thought for children, because for me personally, when I travel, if my kids are happy, I'm happy.
Exactly.
Things for kids, I don't know, a PlayStation, Nintendo, so that, you know, they can play and we can have a glass of wine. That's always, it comes in handy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your owners are thinking also about items in the homes that cater for the younger guests?
I think so, because the families are very important. So the more you offer to families, the best the experience will be for them. So with you, hand by hand, we shape the perfect villa for our families.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And I'm very excited to launch the villa. The one thing I wanted to ask you, it's a small detail, but once you have the house, once you have the furniture, what are the small items that can elevate the experience?
The sensory experience, as I was saying, for example, studying great the lighting, change the vision of the spaces, the smell of the house can be outdoor and indoor. Outdoor by a landscape, by water features, for example, but indoor by plants, by putting some flowers inside. Always a good
Candles, maybe?
Absolutely. And also the colors, the shapes of the volumes, the textures of the fabrics, etc. All these sensory experience
To create a cozy environment, you know, a throw on a couch where you can watch TV and have, like, you know, a blanket,
Yes.
Cushions, candles, and this is also something that you can do.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Aida. It was a pleasure hosting you today.
Thank you for
And
having
I'm sure
me.
this is very valuable advice for owners buying, renovating, building. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.